My fan has been fixed. I am so happy because we are in the middle of a heat wave as I film this. It's somehow gotten separated from the bottom of it, and so the top and the bottom are supposed to be moving in sync, but somehow it got separated, and so while the bottom would move, then it would stop, and then the other bit would continue moving. So yeah, completely out of sync. Hello, welcome back. If you have not been here before, my name is Debbie and I read a lot of books. And today I have The Comfort Book by Matt Haig. I find it interesting that I'm reading two books that are kind of in a similar vibes at the same time. I'm reading The Comfort Book and then also reading the new Miranda Hart book. I haven't been entirely honest with you. And they feel like they've got slightly similar vibes in showing ways on how to be happy and how to look after yourself. So yeah, I'm really looking forward to talking about the Miranda Hart book at some point. I think I've still got about a couple of hundred pages to go, but I am at the theatre tonight, so we'll see if I do get any reading time tonight. It just entirely depends on whether I'm sat inside the auditorium or outside the auditorium on how much I get to read on a night. The Comfort Book. Let's just go through what this book is about, shall we? Reflections on hope, survival and the messy miracle of being alive. Nothing is stronger than a small hope that doesn't give up. The Comfort Book is a collection of little islands of hope. It gathers consolations and stories that give new ways of seeing ourselves and the world. This is the book to pick up when you need the wisdom of a friend, the comfort of a hug, or a reminder that hope comes from unexpected places. This is 272 pages in autobiography, memoirs, health and fitness, lifestyle, well-being, psychology, self-help, mind, body and spirit and meditation. I read this at like the perfect time because if you have seen my videos before, I did share that I had a bit of a downward spiral at one point earlier this year. I had a couple of health issues back to back from losing my voice, which, you know, looking back on it has actually made my voice even stronger, but at the time I'd lost my voice for about a month, and then from that I then had an issue with an ovarian cyst, and then I went and fell off a stage at the staff party and shot my knee. So yeah, it was a series of events that put me into a bit of a dark place mentally, and so reading this was really just what I needed. Yeah, I'm still on the mend from things, like my knee isn't 100%, but it's getting there. I was at Aquafit this morning and I can definitely bend it further back than I could before. I'm starting to kneel on it a little bit. It's still painful, but I can kneel on it again, which is great. Yeah, I was just reading this and the Miranda Hart book at just the right time, really. Like, I really needed this book. And I read it on BorrowBox, but this is one that I would proudly display on my bookshelf. This book was just what I needed when I was going through all sorts mentally in regards to my health, the stress that I was going through in regards to the health and the flat. And I love how easy this was to read, also because it goes from being like some things that are only like less than half a page to having maybe a couple of pages, and it's just done in little vignettes almost. And so it's a case of you could just pick it up, open it up on a random page and read something inspiring. I'll just open up the preview. The preview's like 36 pages, but it's just like, when you look at the contents of it, you've got like the introduction, a note on structure, and then part one you've got baby, you are the good, a thing my dad said once when we were lost in a forest, it's okay, power, songs that comfort me, a playlist. This is also things that you could do for yourself. So like in the songs that comfort me, a playlist, Matt Haig shares music that puts him in a good place. But you could look at that and go, I'm going to do my own version of this. So you can read it and take the story or the message or the moral of that section, or you can look at it and think, this is something that I want to do and figure out for myself. So as I said, with the songs that comfort me, you could make your own list of songs that comfort you, or make a playlist of those happy songs that make you just want to dance around your room. There's a point when, I think there was a point when he talks about movies, like if you look at like the second page of content, you've got stuff like 10 books that helped my mind, Words and Words Too, The Power of Why, The Gaps of Life, Foundation, Connected, a thing I discovered recently, Pear, Toast and Hummus. There's Always a Path Through the Forest. There's even one just called Pizza. Yeah, there's just so much to it. There's even, like, in part 2, there's tips for how to make a bad day better. Like, there's just so many lovely things to see in this book. I mean, I'm just going to read you the introduction. I sometimes write things down to comfort myself. Stuff learned in the bad times. Thoughts, meditations, lists, examples. Things I want to remind myself of. Or things I have learned from other people or other lives. It's a strange paradox that many of the clearest, most comforting life lessons are learned while we are at our lowest. But then we never think about food more than when we are hungry. And we never think about life rafts more than when we are thrown overboard. So these are some of my life rafts, the thoughts that have kept me afloat. I hope some of them might carry you to dry land too. So yeah, it's all, as I sort of said after I did my explanation of the book, it's in Memoirs and Autobiography because it's Matt Haig showing moments of his life and the things he learned from those moments. So you do stuff about when he was dealing with depression and his relationship with his father, and so you are learning about Matt Haig, but also he's just passing on the life lessons he learned through that. There was also a section on grief, which I found very comforting as somebody who has gone through a lot of grief. We always say in my family that 2015 was the shit year. It was just, we lost a lot of family, and some unusual circumstances as well. We lost grandparents, we lost my auntie and uncle, and I remember we lost a family pet that year as well. And so yeah, mentally wise that year I went through a lot, and I do think I had some emotional trauma going on. I did end up in counselling, in grief counselling, and so did my sister because she lost her firstborn. And so yeah, it was a very difficult thing to get through. And when it does touch on grief in this book, having this book would have been wonderful when I was going through it, but I feel like I read this at the right time for me based on stuff that has happened this year. As you can probably tell, it's still a bit fresh, but I'm working on it, and that's what this book tells you. It's just like, you will continue to work on it, and you know, you're allowed to feel in that moment, and you're allowed to feel beyond the moment, and you're also allowed to feel before the moment if you know that something's coming, and which is what happened to me when my grandma passed away, because she was in a hospital room for 2 weeks, and I think we all kind of knew that she wasn't going to wake up, which was why my body grieved her before she died, and it took a long time for me to realise what had happened there. And that was what I discussed in grief counselling, realising that my whole body grieved for my grandma in the 2 weeks when we weren't sure if she was going to wake up. It's going quite deep into me, but I think it's hard to not share your own things when you're talking about a book like this, which is very self-help, well-being. I mean, it's in the title, it's a comfort book. It's there for you to pull out when you need it, which is why I say I very proudly have this book on my bookshelf, because I feel like it's something that you can read and you can go through that content to listen for something specific if you want to, or you can just open it up on a random page and just go, what do I want to do today? And the page that is going to turn up on, you just like, you can look at it and see how you can apply it to your life. Yeah, it was just a very powerful read. And I recommend it if you, I mean, you don't have to be going through something to be able to enjoy this book and the messages that Matt Haig shares, but if you are going through something, I think that this does provide some comfort for you. And it's made me realise that, you know, my times when I pop some music on when I'm in the shower and just belt to my heart's content, using the great acoustics of the bathroom to make me feel like I'm Jennifer Samard in Death Becomes Her. Just like, I'm allowed to enjoy that moment and not think about anything else, and that is something I recommend to everybody. Like, if you have something that makes you happy, obviously don't try to hurt anybody else in the process, but if you've got something that's not harmful and something that you know makes you feel good, what is actually stopping you from doing it? Yeah. But it's just like, when you look at the first section, it says part 1, perhaps home is not a place but simply an irrevocable condition. James Baldwin Giovanni's room. And then the first section you've got like baby, which as I said, like is less than half the page. Same for You Are the Goal. Next one you've got I Think My Dad Once Said When We Were Lost in the Woods. That goes over a couple of pages. It's okay. It's okay to be broken. It's okay to wear the scars of experience. It's okay to be a mess. And that's just something that just so many people need to remember, that it is okay to be a mess. It's okay to not be okay, because we are not all okay all of the time. It would be incredibly boring if we were all happy and go lucky all of the time. Like, we will all have our dips. We will all have our good times. We will all have our bad times. It's remembering that there is the end of the tunnel somewhere, and just because you're in a low moment now doesn't mean that you'll never get out of the tunnel. I feel like I'm mashing up metaphors there, but yeah, it's like, it's okay to like what you like. Like, not everybody will be as obsessed as I am with the Death Becomes Her soundtrack at the moment, but it is making me extremely happy to listen to that soundtrack, to have my TikTok curated to the point where all I see is cats and Death Becomes Her and Jennifer Samad and Megan Hilty. And I'll admit, I know that Megan Hilty has had to bow out for a bit because of her vocal issues. But then I'm also seeing this wonderful community in the Death Becomes Her musical, just fans, just obsessing over the understudies. And as somebody who's a big fan of musical theatre, we see so much about people like, if an understudy goes on. But this community that I've suddenly found myself a part of has been so excited about the understudies and the alternates, and I think everybody's going like, Jennifer Samad Mother, who is currently playing Helen full time, but then when her understudy Natalie Charles Ellis goes on, they're just like, stepmother. I know that sounds like really cheesy and things, but it's just like, this is a community that it just exudes so much happiness, and I feel very lucky to be in that community a little bit. But yeah, it's just like, I might not be like a full-blown member of that community, but even just being a little bit of that community has made me extremely happy. And so like, it takes away the doom scrolling a little bit. It's just like, I'm not doom scrolling, I'm like ignoring stuff if politics comes on my page, and as I said, I've curated it to be basically lovey-dovey cats and Death Becomes Her at this point, with a couple of friend stuff thrown in. But yeah, it's just like, you do you be unapologetically yourself, and yeah, it's okay to not be okay sometimes. And basically, don't be scared to get help as well. I did actually once have to say that to somebody, and I was just like, you are where you're not less than if you need to go on antidepressants again. And, you know, if it's something that works for you, you should do it. And, you know, yeah, I remember having that conversation, and then I think it was about a week or so later, that friend came back to me and was just like, I'm back on the antidepressants. And I was just like, good for you. So yeah, I think in a world where we are starting to talk more, it's an incredibly good thing and a powerful thing, and just, it's okay to not be okay, which is definitely what I needed to hear when I wasn't doing okay. And yeah, this was just a book for the right time. And as I said, I'm still reading the Miranda Hart book, so there's still things I'm going to learn in that as well. So, but yeah, I loved it. It was such a powerful book, and as I said, it was exactly what I needed at the time that I read it. So yeah, the comfort book, Matt Haig. There is so much to this book, but you might not need it, but I guarantee you'll enjoy it. There you go, comfort book, Matt Haig. It's just a lovely cover as well. It's nice and bright. It says, a hug in book form, the #1 Sunday Times bestselling author of Reasons to Stay Alive rethinks self-help book. It was just so nice to read it. Anyway, I'm going to wrap up because I feel like I'm talking forever, and I will let you go and let you go enjoy the comfort book if you want to read it. But yeah, so thank you so much for watching. Don't forget to subscribe if you're not already, and I will see you next time with another video. I am off to listen to the Buckleys podcast. I say listen, I watch it because I like to have the visual and edit a moving vlog. Yes. I love you, and I'll see you next time. Bye!